is fantasy football. We are here. We're talking playoffs. We're talking action. We got some sit starts for you. If you're here, once again, congratulations on advancing. In some of these leagues, this could be your first round here.
I mean, we are going to get you through the stress of the sit-start situations in your fantasy playoffs. So if we don't answer your questions during the video, feel free to send us a comment below. And also, baby, if you like what you hear and see, give us a share, baby, because we need to spread the tanker word out there. Quit being selfish, baby. Quit being selfish and spread the tanker sexy love.
All right, sit starts here. What position you want to start?
Some running backs, I guess. We'll start off in Tennessee with Murray and Henry playing against the Niners, who are giving up 165 rush yards a game, which is the most in the league, and they're also giving up the most fantasy points to running backs.
All right, and then I think the Vikings backfield as well. You got McKinnon and Murray, both very good options. Playing against the Bengals, giving up 150 yards a game. You look at what the Bengals did last week, just getting absolutely shredded against Howard.
By the Bears.
Even Cohen got some solid production.
He had two
from
touchdowns.
PPR.
One, he barely stepped out of bounds. Another was called back by a penalty, but Cohen almost slipped his ass into the end zone twice as well. And, I mean, if the Bengals are still missing those 5 defensive players that they were missing against the Bears, I mean, watch out. They'll be able to run the ball all day. The Vikings should just be able to run it all over them all day. I mean, my God, Bengals, what the hell happened out there?
Talking about complete messes here. We're talking Tampa Bay. Freeman's got a golden matchup against Tampa Bay, giving up the 3rd most points to running backs.
We got Howard and Cohen. The Bears have another good matchup out there versus the Lions, giving them the 3rd most touchdowns and the 5th most points. All the way, I know Cohen's more of that RB3 flex play with upside, but I'm feeling him this week. I think he'll at least be able to get you double digits in PPR once again.
A guy who's coming on hot, starting to lose his mind. We're talking Drake from Miami. Coming off back-to-back 100-yard games, looking like Barry Sanders on Monday Night Football.
Looking like the American dream out there. He's had 2 runs the past 2 weeks where the thing has just been blown up in the backfield by safeties. And that one this week against the Patriots, he just hit him with that spin move, crank it outside for a huge gain. I mean, this guy, I mean, Adam Gase and the Dolphins are looking like geniuses for cutting Ajayi's bum ass. And I mean, I know they were giving Damian Williams some share too, but I think Kenyon Drake was always the most talented guy in the back of their mind that they knew they eventually had to turn to.
He's got a great matchup. Buffalo, you look at even Frank Gore resurrecting the Demons, putting up well over 100 yards in the blizzard. Buffalo's giving up the most points and averaging over 150 yards on the ground so far.
Against them, and we got some sits at running back. Hyde, I know he's been pretty loving you sexy, and this isn't necessarily a strong sit, but just kind of letting you know that he has a crappy matchup coming up versus the Titans. Are giving him the 2nd fewest touchdowns at running back, so that's a little rough out there for you. I know the game is in San Francisco, so that's a little bit better, but I don't know. If you got anybody else out there, I know he's going to be a solid flex play RB3, but I think back end RB2 at most this week because the Titans D is stout versus the run.
And here's another guy, probably back end RB2, mostly a volume, but I don't even know if that volume is going to get him what you need in the playoffs. We're talking Lamar Miller against Jacksonville.
In Jacksonville. Tougher.
I don't know if you start anyone at this point. We're talking Savage having seizures and spewing blood after the concussion. He's obviously probably not going to be starting this week. We're going to get TJ Yates. Besides Hopkins, I don't think you can really put any Texan player in your lineup.
Hopkins is sexy deluxe no matter who's out there. Apparently, I even scored with TJ Yates at the helm. So, I mean, Hopkins no matter what. But any other Houston player, I think, is totally on your bench. I mean, going into Jacksonville, you just can't expect that much of anything out of Lamar Miller. I just think they're going to swallow him up in the muck out there. I think the Jags are going to get a lead, and it's going to basically take away the run of Lamar Miller. Because the Texans even giving up through the pass, and Bortles been looking kind of sexy. So
Bortles has put together possibly his 2 best games of his career back-to-back here, actually throwing spirals.
Looking solid.
Impressive.
Bortles. Got some sits. I mean, I know Gio did decent for you in PPR versus the Bears in that garbage time. I think he did get like 18 or 19 PPR points to salvage the game. But I mean, if Mixon does suit up, I think they kind of both are more of a sit going into Minnesota, give them the 2nd fewest yards and good touchdowns. Going into last week, I know Yates went out there and scored on him 3 times, but I think that's more of a fluke than anything. I think they're going to more return to the means this week, so I wouldn't be expecting. I mean, the Bengals just look terrible garbage. I mean, Marvin Lewis needs to be fired. I mean, giving up a 2-touchdown lead to the Steelers at halftime the week before, and then coming out and just getting your shit plowed over by the shit deluxe Chicago Bears. I mean, John Fox is probably definitely getting fired after the season's over. So, I mean, I don't see how anyway. I mean, Marvin Lewis hasn't won a playoff game. He's been a coach since like 2003. My God, he's 0-7 in the playoffs.
I think isn't he the second longest tenure behind Belichick?
Yeah, second longest tenure behind Belichick, and never even won a playoff game. I know he kind of brought Cincinnati out of the shit dumpster that was the late 90s for Cincinnati, but I mean, I think you need somebody else to usher him into the promised land. I mean, he dug him out of the dumpster, but I think his mission is, I mean, my God, how can you bring the guy back? I know he was missing a lot of players, but just getting shit rolled out there at home against the fucking Bears, oh baby.
Let's get to some wide receivers. I think could be the start of the week here. We're talking Devin Funchess. I say have total faith this week. Getting it done for you last week, even with an extremely tough matchup. And against this Packers secondary, absolutely pitiful right now. Could be another target monster type game with Olsen rocking a 0 PPR score for you last week. He didn't play much, but still.
Thinking, staying with it, going with the Eagles, and I know Wentz is done for the year, but Foles, I think, is a very capable backup, and the Eagles are playing versus the Giants, who are giving up the 6th most points to wide receivers, so I think that Alshon will at least put up decent wide receiver 2 numbers, and Aguilar should continue to give you sexy boy flex play, I would assume. I mean, the Giants just... Dez went out there and just ate him alive last week, and he hasn't really done dick all as far as yards go this season. Dez went out there and ate him alive, so I would expect Foles to be able to... I mean, I think Foles is decent, probably one of the best backups in the league.
You look at this Philly team, I know it's a totally different scheme, but a few years ago when he took over for Philly, he went like 9-3 or something like that as the starter.
I mean, that throw he made to Aguilar, I think it was on that 3rd down, that was a sexy deluxe throw. I know it wasn't that long of a throw, but that was a very precise throw. I mean, that defender was on top of him, and he got it in there. It was very sexy for the old Nick Foles, coming off the bench all season long.
And we touched on Dez Bryant. I feel like he keeps it rolling against Oakland. Dak Prescott hot off of that 300-yard game. Dez with the long touchdown. I feel like maybe they get some chemistry going still without their boy at running back for another couple weeks here.
Yeah, Demaryius Thomas has been letting you down coming into the playoffs, but in the playoffs last week, he got it sexy for you, and I think he will continue to get it sexy versus the Indianapolis Colts. So they're giving up the 3rd most yards to opposing wide receivers. So I'm all in on the wide receiver 2 for Demaryius Thomas.
And this is crazy, but I'm saying if you got a guy like Marquise Lee or D.D. Westbrook, I'm saying you can throw him in with some actual confidence as a flex play. Going against Houston, we're talking Houston, absolutely pitiful secondary. D.D. Westbrook, if you're looking at this guy, he's led the team, I think, in targets like 2 out of the 3 last weeks. Almost 20 points PPR this week. This is a spot that he could really explode onto the scene here.
And all in on Jags wide receiver this week versus the Texans. Cooper Kupp, I know he's going into Seattle, and I'm more worried about the atmosphere than I am, how good the Seattle defense is. They do give up.
Seattle defense really isn't good. They played great last week, but...
They played good against the Eagles at home. They played better at home, but I just feel like Kupp getting the targets. He's more that slot guy, and the Seahawks don't do as well versus the slot guys. I think I'm all in still on the... high-end wide receiver 3, back-end wide receiver 2, Kupp, I think, this week. Cooper Kupp, baby.
And another guy I'm absolutely loving this week as well. Loved him last week, Crabtree. Put up about 14, 15 PPR points for you. He didn't absolutely take a dump for you, but I feel like this week could be a very nice week going against the Cowboys. They're giving up the most touchdowns of anyone in the league against receivers, as well as the 3rd most yards.
Cooper aggravating that ankle, so he's probably looking to be out as well, so more targets for the Crabtree, and I just think versus the Cowboys, Crabtree is kind of that touchdown guy, and giving up the Cowboys give up the most touchdowns. I'm feeling the wide receiver 2 on the Crab this week. Another long shot here, been doing shitty since the Rodgers injury. I think Rodgers is back this week.
Does not have over 35 points since Rodgers hasn't not started
35
the game.
yards?
35 yards, I mean, not 35 yards.
Desolation. But from the depths of the sea back to the mic, we're talking about Jordy Nelson coming in at hard, sexy. If you are on the ropes, you need that flex play with some high upside. I think Jordy can get his ass back in the end zone with the rods.
Hasn't even had a touchdown.
No.
Since Hunley started the game
due.
here. Overdue. He's overdue.
All on the overdue with the Jordy.
Let's get in some sits here. Doug Baldwin found himself in the end zone last week in a very tough matchup against Jacksonville, but has another tough matchup against LA, who have given up the 3rd fewest touchdowns and the 7th fewest fantasy points.
Yeah, probably can't necessarily sit Doug Baldwin, but kind of let you know it might not be sexy deluxe. I know it is in Seattle, but I think that's going to be...
And it is Seattle's time. They really heat up end of the year here.
I mean, all right, start Baldwin. We're back on it.
Temper expectations.
We're back on it. Temper expectations. Fuck it, baby.
No, this guy, I think, is an all-in
No way you can start this guy.
We're talking T.Y. Hilton. Just a disappointing year all around, starting with the luck situation. But going against Denver, giving up the 2nd fewest yards at wide receivers, coming off of that snow game where he got you next to nothing.
T.Y. been doing a whole lot of next to nothing besides 3 games this year when he actually lost his goddamn mind. He was a top 10 wide receiver. He only had like 3 games over 8 PPR points at one point. I mean, that has fallen off the shelf, and I think no way you can start him versus the Broncos this week. The Jets, I think you got to sit all Jets wide receiver. McCown, officially done for the year out there. New Orleans is a top 10 pass defense. So I really think that, Robbie Anderson just didn't look the same. I know he's been sexy, but
Anderson is the only guy that I could possibly think about. Him and Bryce Petty did get some chemistry the last few games down the stretch last year. But it is tough. This is a guy we could be talking.
It's the unknown.
This is a guy that we could seriously have a 0-point floor. His floor is nothing with this situation.
The Saints D is fucking tough. You saw
if Lattimore's out there and he's playing, he can lock the receiver down.
From majority of that game, I know Julio got his a little bit out there, but he was in single coverage on Julio, and he was getting after it out there. So if he's going to be in coverage on Robbie Anderson with McCown out, I'm all in on the sit. Fuck.
Another guy I think you got to go all in on the sit. We're talking Shepard against the Eagles. What did he have last week?
Like 2. Like 2 or 3 nothing. PPR points. It was absolutely nothing. Like 2.7 or something. I started him in one league. Somehow scraped together a W, still with his bum ass out there. But, I think he went out there and laid a serious egg.
Great situation last week to get it done. Does not. I don't think he's ever really going to get it going.
He has flashes of greatness every now and again, but I just don't know if he's ever going to be a reliable guy for him. He's playing the Eagles, give him the third fewest touchdowns of wide receivers, so I think he's a sit this week. Breaking in some tight ends, we got some Charles Clay. Feeling a lot better about it. If Tyrod Taylor suits it up, he's kind of day-to-day, so I'm kind of looking. I think he will. The playoffs are on the line with the Buffalo Bills being 7-6. Let's go, Bills. The Steelers won it for you, baby. The Steelers were down 9, came back to beat the Ravens to keep the Bills' playoff hopes alive. And the Dolphins, who Charles Clay is playing, the game with the 5th most points to tight ends, baby.
And we're talking thin position. Jack Doyle's kind of fell off the shift the last few weeks here since his humongous game that he had. Going against Denver, who surprisingly enough have given up the 2nd most yards and points to tight ends so far.
Witten, he saved your life with that touchdown in that game. He was putting up a big fat 0 until that moment. He's playing the Raiders, giving him the 6th most yards and points. I know tight ends are a little bit hurting out there. And I just don't. I know, they basically have shit floors of all of them.
They do.
They do. It's ridiculous. But Witten, not all in, but I can all in on the Witten. You can't even do that anymore. Solid a look.
I mean, you have to play him.
Yeah, you have to play him. Another guy you might not be able to play. Hunter Henry has been getting it together as of late, but Kansas City has only given up 1 touchdown to tight ends all year. Fewest touchdowns to tight ends in Kansas City. I don't know. Kind of hating on it.
Another guy, we got Croft going against that stiff Minnesota D, giving up the 5th fewest points. Vikings D is just on a tear. They're just might be the best defense in the league right now. I feel like them and Jacksonville might be the top 2 best defenses.
Yeah, they did go out there and kind of
lay an egg against Carolina.
That was in Carolina.
But now that they come back home here,
I think they're going to come back home mad. So, yeah, I think more kind of a strong set on the Croft. The Bucs D does look shitty. I know they get rolled over all the time, but they are giving up the 3rd fewest yards and the fewest points to tight ends. So all in on the Austin Hooper sit this week.
As if you're thinking about sitting Hooper
tight end
this
is so
week
bad,
anyway.
though. He's like a top 12 guy in PPR. It's ridiculous.
It's
telling you.
It is really
ridiculous.
bad.
I mean, if your names aren't Travis Kelce or Rob Gronkowski, I mean,
that's about it.
Yeah, that's it now. Ertz has been hurt.
That is
Ertz started off sexy deluxe the first 7 or 8 weeks. He has fallen off with the injuries, and now with the Wentz out, he's probably might be still out. I mean, my goodness, it's Gronk and it's Kelce and it's a bunch of fuckholes.
All right, quarterbacks, all in picking this guy up off the waiver wire. If you are struggling at the quarterback position, I'm saying my boy Blake Bortles.
Let's do it. Talking about him a little bit earlier. He's on a tear.
He has put up good fantasy numbers as of late. Possibly his 2 best games of his career in real football, not fantasy football, but good fantasy-wise anyway. But 2 best NFL games last 2 weeks. Look at these matchups he's got. He's got Houston giving up the most points to any quarterbacks. And then if you win that week and you go on to the Super Bowl, might as well ride Bortles again.
Ride him again. If you're Wentz, maybe you lost Carson Wentz, all in on the Bortles these last 2 weeks.
Another golden matchup against San Francisco, giving up the 28th most points at quarterback.
Oh, yeah,
so he's going from 32 and 28, your last 2 fantasy weeks.
I'm picking him up, Bortles. I'm coming at him with the Bortles out there. Oh, right, what we got? We got Breeze. Breeze has been kind of up and down kind of all year, mainly down, but he has some good matchups coming up, especially this week at home, playing the Jets, giving them the 2nd most touchdowns at quarterbacks. So all in on the Breeze this week. What we got here? I mean, I think it's a trap play. I know the Buccaneers are giving it up via the pass, but Matt Ryan is looking shitty.
Bad.
God damn, he's looking so shitty out there. The Falcons somehow scraped together a win, even with his shittiness. But, I mean, how can you rely on this guy moving forward? It is just absolutely gross. I think it's more of a trap.
And I think a guy you have to ride, absolutely just on a tear right now. We're talking Phillip Rivers, Uncle Phil, my boy, going out there against Kansas City, giving up the 3rd most points. I don't know if there's really a better play than anyone so far, the way Phillip Rivers has been playing the last 5-6 weeks here.
And Tom Brady went out there, looked pedestrian with his Achilles being so adverse to Dolphins.
Russell Wilson was #1 in most quarterback leagues, giving up had 3 interceptions. It was a tough matchup, but he did have the 3 touchdowns.
Let's give it to some Dolphin love coming up right here. Tom Brady has lost 19 division games his whole career. 10 of them to the Dolphins. Dolphin love, baby.
I saw a post on Facebook.
9 losses in Miami.
I saw a Facebook post, and it was one of my buddies, and it said the 2 greatest quarterbacks in NFL history starting this week. Tom Brady and J-Rod.
J-Rod fucking
looks good.
Sexy. Breaking that fucking sack, getting that conversion out there. Oh, baby.
He could have had another touchdown late
He should have tucked it in and ran on that third down. I thought that was looking to cost him the game when they punted, and he didn't. But Tom Brady just couldn't get it together. I mean, they got down to the 2-yard line and still couldn't punch it in at the end of the game. I mean, goodness.
And had the bomb perfectly thrown ball receiver drop, so that would have totally set the game on ice, finished it off.
Yo, J to the ROC. All right, Mariota playing the Niners. Niners giving up the 5th most points to quarterback. So look at Mariota if you need a guy to fill in for your Wentz.
I'm not loving it.
All right, maybe he's a little
maybe pick up the Bortles over Mariota.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you got to go to the Bortles.
My baby.
Oh, yeah. All right, this isn't not a strong sit, but Goff, you know, he's going into Seattle. It gets rough there. Wentz even had a little bit of a tough time out there. So if you got other options, I'd consider him with the Goff. Sit Alex Smith. He's just been falling off lately. Chargers are giving up the 5th fewest touchdowns and yards as a quarterback. So.
And you got to sit the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, against that stiff Minnesota D. I just don't think there's really any upside.
You can't even fuck around with that rifle anymore.
No,
man.
I don't think there's really any upside.
Watching Andy Dalton play football makes me sad. It's like, if this, people are like, you know, he's got a great regular season record. You know, he's above average. And if that's what an above average NFL quarterback looks like, I mean, my fuck, how much does he leave to be desired? If Andy Dalton is above average, we are in some fucking trouble in the NFL, boys. My God.
We need that Goff Wentz action, the new rivalry.
Andy Dalton, I mean, what is going on? Marvin Lewis needs to be fired.
Something needs to happen.
I mean, Mike, how do you, I know you're
even just the way
this is the Bears. Like, you knew what the Bears were gonna do, and they just like did it all over you the whole game. There was like no time. We're like sitting there watching. We're like, the Bears will fuck this up eventually. You know, the Bears are gonna fuck this up, and then it's like, holy fuck, the Bears are fucking them up. Bears are gonna fuck this up. Bears are gonna fuck them up. 33-7, not even close.
All right, people.
We were down 7-6.
Unanswered.
Up an ass. 27 unanswered. Where'd that go? Oh my goodness.
There it is, people. If you liked what you saw and you haven't already, please subscribe below.
Subscribe. We need
a thumbs up. Make sure to leave all your comments below, your sit-star questions, any advice that we can help you with to make sure you advance
share it for your boys
to your fantasy Super Bowl run here.
Click the share button for your boys. Let's go. Come on, baby. We need to get it popping at the end of this year, heading into next season. Let's get some share. Let's get the word going out for your boys. Come on, man. Quit being selfish. Saving the tankers all to yourselves.
Speaking of the tankers, what about the listener leagues here?
Leagues are in full stride. Me and you slugging it out in the hashtag Protect the Shitgun League. And, I mean, I took you down with some amazing Hopkins.
I had Berg give it all he had.
Fuck, I was thinking there's no way I'm going to lose. And it was like Berg just kept fucking slanging it all over him.
The 2 highest point totals of the week, and we just had to face each other.
If Bell would have left with that injury and not came back, I would have fucking lost. But he came back in, put up like 39 PPR. Hopkins went out there, got it sexy. Thielen got, I mean, all in. Game balls there. Game balls all around.
And then in my other league, I got old man Jenkins out there, first round bye, getting ready to go.
The sexy, that was sexy boys took you down. Sexy boys took you down. Talking about Finkel and Einhorn. Oh, Benito. Benito, baby. I mean, when we play each other, it's like the shittiest of slugfests of ever. It's low scoring. It comes down to these Monday night affairs. My quarterback was Josh McCown, scored me 0 points out of Josh McCown. My running backs were Peyton Barber and Tariq Cohen, and somehow, baby, Brandon Cooks just went out there and shit the bed enough for me to pull in a W. Oh, baby, how did I wrangle it in there? I think he even took the lead at one point after that Burkhead touchdown. I think he was winning. And just like Landry just fucking kept shoving it down, baby. When they called that first Landry touchdown back by penalty, I was like, I'm fucking losing. I always get dicked. But then, baby, Bucker did come for it. Wasn't Bucker? I think Bucker was his highest scorer. That kicker, like 17 points. Both times he played me, his kicker scored like over 15.
You just picked him up, right?
I mean, I think, no, the first time when we played in the regular season, I think he put up like over 15 on me too. Bucker coming for that ass.
Saw him on that message board getting at him.
It was soft. I pulled through. I don't know how I got to survive my Mach 5 till Zeke and Joe Mixon can get back on me, because I can't win very much more with Peyton Barber and Trico. And baby, I can't do it, baby. I can't. But the sexy boys, we're coming for you, Reyes. We're coming for you, baby. Next up, hashtag protect the shit gun. You want some of the sexy boys, baby? Oh, we're coming.
There it is. Thank you very much. We'll hopefully see you next week.
Coming in hot.